The thug is in.
All right. Welcome to the ADV VGC Draft DLC, which is basically because I talked about so many Pokemon in the first video that we're making this a shorter one. But it's because I talked about so many other Pokemon. Anyway, let's look at Rocketshaw's team, which me and him were DMing a lot. Me and them. And, my bad. It was good. I think this team is a really, really great team, honestly. Partially because I think I had my brains were in it. But I think it's a good team. You got exactly what Team Cap did, except they were like, you know what? I just don't want that Medicham to be stolen. I want it right away, which is fair because I think, well, almost everybody else did take the things, but you never know. Doc could have taken it on the back end. Whoopsie. Yeah, the Lati Medicham combo we already talked about in part 1. Great. Jolteon makes sense. Something even faster than the things that could handle Lati and Medicham, such as Zam, Raikou. Even though Jolteon is kind of whatever versus Raikou, but it can T-Wave it. Yeah, Jolteon's cool. I think Jolteon, I still don't really sure how I feel about it in ADV VGC Draft, but we'll have to see myself proven wrong. And then Charizard was the perfect pick for them. I think it's Moltres already did get taken at this point. Or no, it didn't. No, wait. Yeah, it was taken at this point. So I'm moving my head to be like, where's the snake going? Charizard makes sense for this team. This team is very, very, very weak to Metagross, and Charizard helps pressure Metagross immensely while keeping the speedy theme of the team. I think the speed theme of this team is so huge. And yeah, Charizard just does cool stuff, and it can even threaten Lotties with D-Claw because opposing Lotties are still tough. It's just another thing you can fake out with Medicham, and you have another sub threat next to Medicham. And of course, just another EQ immunity is big. Miltank was something that I didn't see, but they saw and they wanted to pick. It makes sense. Here's the idea behind Miltank, the only Miltank drafter, I believe. The cool idea behind Miltank is that right now this team has no ice resist, and Medicham and Latios are both weak to Ghost, so maybe something like a Shadow Ball Gengar or something that's using HP Ghost, like Tauros, is dissuaded from doing that because you could switch in Miltank, and it dissuades the HP Ghost, but it also dissuades ice moves into Latios because Miltank has thick fat. So I think that's really cool, and Miltank has some really cool support options too, and it's fast, so you can run a fast set. And yeah, I mean, it has cool support options. It has Thunder Wave, you know, for that. Gets Ice you in too if you want to be cute like that. Helping Hand is huge. Helping Hand is huge, and then it also just gets Milk Drink, so it has instant recovery, so you can be really annoying. Like I could see this doing like Body Slam, Milk Drink, Protect, T-Wave, Helping Hand, something like that, right? It has some cool utility. And I think that's a cool idea with Miltank, and I like it on this team, I really do. Next, we got Haunter. Haunter was a cool idea. The main idea of Haunter was like, all right, I need something to click Boom now. That's the only weakness about this team, I think, is that there's no really strong Explosion user. But, you know, then they decided to go the route of, well, if I can't be a strong Explosion, I'll go Anti-Explosion. And it makes sense with the next two of Haunter and Quagsire, both making Explosion users think twice by having a Pokemon not get taken out by Explosion, as well as having Damp, which literally prevents any Pokemon from using Explosion. But at least Haunter can use Explosion, and it's like a kind of a side, like a mini Gengar. And like I said with Quagsire before, I think Quagsire is cool. And it makes sense for this team when it just kind of, I mean, it gives the team a rock resist that isn't Medicham, which is important. You can also mix up and go Water Absorb, and now you have another Water Resist that isn't just Latios. And it also threatens Sleep for the team, which I think is huge. I mean, Hypnosis Haunter also did that, but Quagsire is more bulkier, has more longevity. I like it. I like it as a cute little side pick. And then we talked about Smeargle before. I like people that draft Smeargle in the 7th or the 8th round. Surely it could just do some whack shit that you gotta be scared of when you see it on the preview of 6. It's gotta do some whack shit. So, I like it. I like it a lot. Alright, next. We got Sword is Bored. A viewer of mine, well, also some of the others were people that came to this because of me. I got like probably 5 or 6 people into this tournament. Flex. Anyway, Sortis board got a really cool lead in just two bulky ass Pokemon in Suicune and Heracross. I mean, Suicune and Latias. This is scary as hell because they're both just so bulky and can start setting up Calm Mind. I think this is scary as hell. And they're also great duo Pokemon because they can Icy Wind. So I really like this lead. It's just an annoying, bulky lead that you can't really just like hard counter right away with a KO move. Heracross makes a lot of sense. It pressures things like Metagross with being faster than it, and it can click Earthquake next to Latias. It threatens opposing Latias, which is troublesome for Suicune plus Latias and other Calm Mind users, perhaps. And it really threatens Snorlax hard, which I like, and I think that's cool. And again, EQ resistance. So it makes a lot of sense on this team. A lot more sense on this team than I forgot who drafted it before. And then this was my suggestion for Sortis board as the other thing. I suggested Regirock, and they listened to me. Regirock, I think, makes sense. I think Sword, don't make the mistake of not getting Boom right away. Get some good Boom. Get a good, solid Boom. Regirock is a good, solid Boom. It also pairs nicely with Heracross, because it can pivot into flying type attacks, which people will definitely be running in preparation for this Heracross. And I think it's cool. It's just a Boom user. That's really it. It doesn't... I mean, it also threatens Zapdos, I guess, but I think it's just a Boom. And I think it makes sense here. I disagree with this pick. I really do. I don't know. I don't understand Camerupt that much. It's slow. It's weak. It's preppable. You run a water move. I don't like it. Especially in doubles, I really don't like it. Yes, it's a Boom. Yes, it's another electric resist. But Zapdos just runs HP water. What are you doing? Yeah, then Latias walls it, I guess, but I don't know. Maybe I'm sleeping on this. Maybe Sword will do some work with this, but I'm not seeing it. Golduck, they panicked on this pick. They had like low timer. It makes no sense with Suicune. Like, okay, damp, I guess, but it just makes no sense. We're not even going to talk about it. They're trying to get rid of it. Persian, we talked about before. I like it on this team. The team was starting to get a little bit too slow. Persian adds that speed, gives the team a fake out user, which is just so important on every team. I think every team wants and needs faked out, and it gives sleep pressure. So you can threaten sleep with hypnosis. Persian's cool. And it's really good into this team's yikes as hell Gengar matchup, because you can Shadow Ball Gengar and do some good damage to it. And then Gardevoir, people are talking about this. I don't understand Gardevoir when you have Latias, but I guess like the idea is that like, you know, it gets Wisp, which is cool, so you can threaten Burn. It also gets TUA, which is still cool. I don't think it gets Helping Hand. I guess it's more so just like, okay, you use Latias, but you want to Wisp like Metagross instead of Charm, I guess? I don't know. I don't really see it being used ever. I think they're probably trying to get rid of that as well, but... Anyway, so yeah, a lower team, not a good team. Well, it's an okay team, I just think they really messed up towards the end. That's just my opinion. But now we got... I'm sorry, but one of the worst teams in the draft, and it's because they drafted Arcanine round 1. They had someone named Hungry Foodies, which I respect, great friend of mine, but they fucking told them to draft Arcanine round 1, which makes no sense to me. Arcanine is definitely a round 2 pick, and then they followed up with Aerodactyl, which is just such a weird combo. This team is just obviously really weak to a lot of things. I don't really feel like talking about it too much, honestly. Doc, I respect you, one of my favorite viewers. But I think we both know why it's a little bit faulty. It does have some speed in Arrow, Espeon, and Electabuzz. Has some nice pivots in Claydol. Claydol I will talk about a little bit. Claydol's cool. It resists Electric and Earthquake, which is great. And it also threatens Gengar with Psychic. It has good bulk, but the reason that it's not a sitting duck is that it has Earthquake, which is great, and Explosion. Bam. And it and it also has Skill Swap. I forgot. Skill Swap Levitate is also huge for it. Kind of cool with Electabuzz and Metang. Still, the problem with this team is that there's problems. Maybe I'm not thinking of them right now. There's problems. That's all I'm gonna say. Let's move on. This is DLC. It's supposed to be shorter. Here we go. Michael, I helped them with this team. We can see it's very similar to Blissy's. You got that Metagross, Kingdra, Togetic team, right? Togetic. But this time they decided to pair the Metagross with Regice right away, which is interesting because you think, well, they're both Fire Weak, but Regice is just a good-ass Pokemon. It also threatens Boom, so you got two huge Boom users right away, which I love. Icy Wind, T-Wave Explosion, it's amazing speed control for Metagross. And Kingdra setting up the rain can help Regice a lot. Like, you could already see this as like a 4 to bring. I mean, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Next was Sceptile. Great Pokemon. Gives the team some much needed speed. The fastest, fast Pokemon that was left on the board. Great pick. And they can't pick Ninjask, which I would have liked on this team. Flygon, hey, they needed an electric switch in that wasn't fucking Sceptile, huh? Makes sense. It makes sense. And Flygon sounds sick next to Togetic, honestly. Helping Hand Earthquake. And the mix-up of Follow Me from Ice Beam into Flygon. I like it. And you can already see how these, like, you can pivot into things with this team. So, like, for example, you got Metagross. What pivots into fire moves? You already got Kingdra and Flygon that can eat fire moves. How about ground moves? You got, well, Togetic wouldn't really be pivoting necessarily, but you got Flygon that can pivot into ground moves and even Sceptile. Regice is taking a rock move. Metagross, Flygon, fire move. Kingdra, Flygon. You can see the layers of this team, and I like that. Hitmontop is an interesting selection. It was mainly just like, hey, I want Intimidate on this team. I think trying to get Intimidate on every team is a very valid thing. Helps you just be more bulkier. And even more Helping Hand support. So that Togetic isn't the only Helping Hander. And I also like that it gets priority in Mach Punch, which this team has none of, unless you count Quick Attack Flygon, which I don't. And then moving on, they were talking to me about their last pick a lot. And I think it's an interesting last pick. Hey, why not Omastar? Why not have the threat of rain of Kingdra plus Omastar as a threat in preview? It makes sense, and I like it. Hydro Pump could do huge fucking damage when Swift Swim is up, and you could guarantee a Swift Swim basically because unless you double target into Kingdra, or you could lead both of these and be like, who's gonna click Hydro? Who's gonna click Rain Dance? Like, I just think it's cool. And hey, you know what? Omastar, it's a boom resist. It's another normal resist, so all of that pressure isn't on Metagross. Like, Omastar makes Tauros matchup easier, too. I like it. And Omastar hits fucking hard. Way harder than Kingdra. Look at that shit. Bam. I like it. And there you go. I think Michael's team is a great team. I think it's a great team. I don't think it's like a top 3 team, but I think it's a really great team. Michael Don. The other Michael. What the actual hell, Michael Don? Did they... Oh, wait. What did I do? Did I... Oh, I guess I put it into docs. Oopsie. Michael Don. So we got a Zapdos draft... And we got Zapdos plus Swampert. I'm not sure how I feel about Swampert. I understand why it's a tier 1 because it's bulky, it has Icy Wind support, it's Click, Stab, Earthquake. I like this combo idea though. Zapdos takes care of bulky waters, and Swampert clicks Earthquake next to Zapdos. Makes sense. Makes sense. Crobat is an interesting selection. It's kind of hard into like Ludicolo, faster stuff that outpaces Zapdos and Swampert. You can side Swagger Swampert and click Earthquake, which I think is kind of funny. It pivots into grass moves, which is kind of cool, so you have another one of those, and it's just another EQ immunity. Next, this really puzzled me. I so fucking thought they should have picked Dugong here, or Lapras, or even fucking Walrein, something like that, just to eat, or Articuno, but just something to eat, because they literally don't have an ice or a water resist. And Spadef Zap doesn't count. And they went with motherfucking Shedinja, the only Shedinja drafter. Is this gonna work? I don't know. They know Shedinja is coming. They can click super effective moves into it. But Shedinja, if you bring it in your 6th, you undeniably have to be afraid of it in the back. And it kind of costs coverage on your opponent's team. It can scare them in preparation. We'll see if it works. I feel like Shedinja really could work as an 8th on a really solid team. I'm not a super big believer in this team is my problem. And so they decided to not really draft Boom besides Fori and instead go anti-Boom with Damp Politoed. You know, doesn't get Helping Hand, I forgot about that. It still gets Icy Wind. I really think they should have drafted Dugong here, or Lapras in my opinion, or Walrein. But, you know, maybe they see the idea of Perish Song Trap. Sure. No, Politoed does stuff. It sleeps too. And it's just a nice another defensive water that can eat hits. Blaziken, cool mix-up mon. Fortress, we already talked about. Ninjask. I like the Ninjask idea here. This team's fast as fuck now with Crobat and Ninjask. And, like, The main idea of Ninjask is that it totally revenges Latias, Gengar, Starmie, Zam, and it does guaranteed damage versus stuff, even like Ludicolo, right? And it also has interesting baton pass strategies. What if you go Protect and then baton pass and you give something +1 speed? It draws attacks really well because you might be afraid of Swords Dance Pass. So I see where Michael Don's team right now is trying to go ultra fucking mix-up mode with Shedinja, maybe Swagbat, maybe Blaziken, maybe Ninjask. Like, this is kind of reminded me of Golo's team, where like I would never use this. I don't think it's gonna work, but if it does, I wouldn't be super shocked because it is unique and it's signature. That's all I'll say about that. Let's move to Tom's team, Mr. Tom Numbers, a fan of mine. They spam in my Discord and they do ADV 1v1 stuff. They contribute. Cool guy. Has been less annoying recently. I said it. Anyway, Gengar Raikou team. Houndoom is an interesting choice to help with the Lottie matchup and the Metagross matchup. So a different spin instead of going like a Charizard or Moltres or something like that. But now the problem is the team is really weak to Earthquake, make that sus. I suggested they go Dugong next, and it makes sense, just like I think the other team I suggested, Dugong. Yeah, I already explained it in video 1. Scizor explained it in video 1. Exeggutor explained it in video 1. Earthspring explained it in video 1. Mantine, I don't know what the fuck Mantine is doing, but like, hey, I guess it flies above. Can it click Sunny Day? No. This team is also Sunny Day oriented, if you couldn't tell, with Exeggutor, Houndoom, Raikou, Gengar. I think that's actually cool. I think it's cool, and I could see I could see this working. Mantine, I have no clue what it's doing, so I'm just gonna move on. Tom, if you want to leave a comment about Mantine, please do. Concept Everything, one of my favorite teams in the draft. Really one of my favorite teams in the draft. The only picks I dislike from them are Mantine, Manectric, and Walrein, but this is a top 5 team, and here's why. Snorlax and Mence is sick. Cool as hell duo. Intimidate to support the Snorlax. Snorlax eats special hits. It's just a great duo. It's also great in Fizz offense and ADV OU. It makes sense. And then you got the Clefable plus Salamet's core that Team Cap uses. Same immense threat of Follow Me plus Dragon Dance. Huge threat. Follow Me plus Curse. Huge threat. It's just huge. It's huge. It's huge. And even another random thing that people forget about is that Clefable and Snorlax both get counter. I could totally see one of them using counter on a mon that uses Earthquake and then BAM! Hit. So I like that. Entei, I love the I respect the Entei pick. Yeah, so unfortunately, I would have gone Moltres, but Moltres was sniped just before it. But this is just, the team is really weak to Metagross right now. And Entei shuts that down, but also has even more setup pressure with Follow Me Clefable. This first 4 is so nuts to me. It's such a great first 4. And they have Zam in the back. So just immense setup pressure. Really appreciate it. Calm Mind, pressure. This thing can do it all. Entei's bulky as hell. It could go surprise physical, maybe. I don't know. I think Entei's a great Pokemon. Hard to take down. Great stuff. Next, they want Manectric. I don't understand Manectric here. Obviously, the team needed maybe even more speed, but I don't think I would have ever drafted Manectric here. Like, yeah, it has Lightning Rod, but why? Why do you need Lightning Rod? Yes, you don't have an Electric Resist, but I would have far rather taken something like a Grass-type Electric Resist or a Ground-type that can start clicking Earthquake. You know what I mean? Like a Golem. I think Golem was sick that nobody drafted, by the way. Earthquake Mon that has useful resistances and Explosion. I think that would have been viable. But yeah, Manectric is cool here. I like Walrein. I think they should have gone Dugong or Walrein earlier on. I really think they should have gone Dugong for Fake Out support. But Walrein makes sense. The team still kind of struggles with bulky waters, and this also pressures a lot of things. And it has Icy Wind support, which the team lacked outside of Clefable. Makes sense. Sableye is also really cool for their team because I realized they don't have a normal switch-in, and Sableye does that while also being a really cool partner with Snorlax. I was saying they should have drafted Sableye during the Manectric pick. I would have drafted Sableye at that moment, just because that's how much I believe in it as a partner with Fake Out and being you can send it out next to Snorlax's boom. And does it? I know it gets Psych Up. Does it get imprisoned? No, it doesn't. That's unfortunate, but whatever. I think it's cool. If Mischievous wasn't drafted so early, Mischievous also would have been insane on this team. And then, hey, you got Zam in the back. Alakazam plus Snorlax is really good for the same reasons that Metagross plus Alakazam is good. Because you can just, like, Endure Pitaya Psychic next to Boom is such a huge threat. But what's even cooler about Alakazam is that it hard threatens fighting types. Like, nobody drafted Machamp, I don't think, but, like, you know, Hitmontop. Oh, or nobody really drafted Machamp. That's kind of crazy now that I think about it. Seems like a really useful tier 3. But, you know, Hariyama is huge, and you're immune to Inner Focus, so you just hard fucking counter Hariyama. So yeah, I really like this team a lot. I still struggle with the Manectric pick a bit, and even the Walrein pick a little bit, but I really like what they did with Sableye, Alakazam, and I really love the first 4. I think my biggest gripe with this team, that it's not a top 3 team, is that I wish they drafted an EQ immunity over Manectric or Walrein. I think they really should have done that. Only having one EQ immunity is really tough. But, yeah. Let's move on to the next team. Oops! Oops has a cool team. We already talked about this core. Wait. Yeah, oops, I did that in Tom again. Fuck. We already talked about this core. It's Moltres over Zard. Electrode makes sense, bringing some instant speed to the team and even more boom pressure. Love it. More boom pressure with Weezing. I don't understand Weezing. They were telling me about it. They see the threat of, like, it's bulky-ish, it has Levitate, it's hard to take down, and it has Boom and it has Will-O-Wisp. So I guess I kind of see it. Paired with Intimidate Tauros, this team's going to be really good against physical attackers, which is cool, yeah. And then Jumpluff is a really interesting support piece that I'm surprised wasn't drafted in the first pool. It doesn't have a lot of offensive threat, but, you know, you threaten Sleep Powder, has Encore, it has Helping Hand, which is huge. And that's really it. Sleep Powder, Encore, Helping Hand. What a great 7th round pickup next to Tauros. You could already see this as a threatening lead. Check this out. Helping Hand Earthquake next to Tauros is huge, or Helping Hand Double Edge next to Tauros is huge. And you can also threaten Sleep Powder on something that is slower. So I think that's great. I think it's really cool. And if they protect, bam, you Encore it. Really threatening lead. And then Solrock is yet another EQ immunity. Respect it. Just kind of a good Pokemon pick. This team is still really struggling into Gengar, so I guess I kind of understand the Solrock. I wonder if something like a Dark type could have been cool here, if anything works there. I don't know. Let's move on to 4-4 LOM. I have some problems with this team, a little bit. He's going to disagree. So he decided to not draft tier 2s right away, which is fine. Starmie plus Hariyama, Helping Hand, Fake Out Lead is great. But he really wanted Mischievous. He felt Mischievous was really good. He felt Steelix was really good. And then he goes Dragonite, Slacking, Raichu, which is cool, and then Articuno. The team is cool. It makes sense. A bit. I just think they should have drafted... I don't know. Maybe it's just me being over-focused on not drafting a tier 2. That's a valid argument. And it's the slacking thing again. And thankfully, it's another Starmie slacking team, which makes sense. But... And I think, does Mischievous get it too? Okay! They have 2 potential skill swap users, so you can't just hard target to Starmie as a skill swapper, which is cool. You know, they got 3 EQ immunities, so they're kind of checking all the boxes. It's just, maybe it's just something isn't clicking for me. Maybe it's a good team, and I'm just not seeing it. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I can't argue with the team. I really can't. I don't have that much to say about it, though. I already talked about most of these Pokemon. So, I'm going to move on. To the last team. Charizard's team. I think this team is rather weak. I haven't interacted with this user much. Oh, wait, why have I literally typed in Charizard. Let's just type in this. It's the other Garowak team, which hilariously also got Dusclops, but they picked it up earlier. So, you know, we're going to see Garowak, Dusclops, and then Shiftry makes sense, sure. Fake Out Partner, boom. Jinx, Fake Out Partner, Sleep Pick to help facilitate Garowak. But then you got Machamp or Aggron. I don't like at all. You're weak. You're going to die to any Earthquake, pretty much, plus a target. Machamp is slow. It doesn't like Machamp you think is kind of cool, but like it doesn't learn Helping Hand, which I thought it did. It doesn't get Fake Out. It gets Encore, but it's still kind of like a slow fighting type that's weak to Psychic. Doesn't take Earthquakes all that well. Doesn't have any useful resistances, so it just kind of gets double targeted and dies. But hey, they wanted to pressure like a Snorlax, I guess? I'm not sure. The other main problem that you can see with this team, which I think this is like a bottom tier team, is the speed stats. The fastest Pokemon is Jinx, which has no defensive utility. This team is going to get overwhelmed really quickly. And the only ideas of speed control are Icy Wind Dusclops, maybe fucking Icy Wind Marowak, I guess. T-Wave Gyarados, T-Wave Aggron. Yeah, I mean, like, and then Armaldo's interesting for being cool into normal type attacks and Lottie's, which is, Lottie looks really good into this team. But, I don't know. Something's just off about the team. That's all I'm going to say about it, because I'm fucking done. I talked way too fucking much about ADV VGC Draft, and I gotta go to work. I gotta get ready to go to work, you guys. So, holy fuck. I hope you guys enjoyed. I was really into helping people with this draft. If you're watching these, that's awesome. I love making content. Please join my Discord. Please subscribe. Like the video. Comment. It helps me out a ton. Like, really, just do it. Just do it. But other than that, I'm signing off. So, I'll see you guys on the next video.